All right, welcome. College Football Friendzy.
Friendzy.
I think we should fire off talking right away about probably the marquee game of the week.
Yes.
Obviously, I think both of them, regardless, are going to be in, as long as they win their final games, they're going to be in the college football playoff.
Potentially.
Potentially, even if I think Indiana loses, I think if they win their final game, they'll be in. I think because there'll only be one loss.
Yeah.
Ohio State, if they lose, that'll be their second loss, and they still have Michigan. They still have Michigan, right?
Yes.
So that
would help them if they win that Michigan game too. Even though Michigan's having a down year, Dave, it's still. I don't know. There's a lot of talk about this with the SEC. The SEC has 5 teams with 2 losses, all within the conference. And, Ole Miss plays it all depends who plays in that SEC championship. SEC, Big Ten, there's so many things that can be determined by this Indiana OSU game. I can't wait to get into it, man.
Yeah. First off, Indiana, what they've done is just what this coach has done in such a short time period. And maybe, looking at Dion, he turned it around in 2 years. This guy's turning around in 1 year. I think that it's interesting with the transfer portal of what you can actually get done in a really short time period. I think that's pretty amazing. It's actually mind-blowing how good they are in such a short time period. Obviously, Ohio State with Ryan Day, they've been very good for quite a few years, and obviously it's kind of built off of what Urban Meyer originally did. But he's taken it to other than winning the national championship, he's taken it to a different level. Meaning, they're really offensively is elite beyond elite. And so I think that's interesting start here. I mean, I think your point about the SEC, and I'd love for you to talk more about it. The SEC is the 2 losses. Are they going? They're going to get a team with 3 losses into the championship, right?
Potentially, yeah. I don't know if you want to stick with this Indiana Ohio State theme and come back to the SEC, or you want to stick on this. But yeah, bro. There's potential there's literally potential for only one Big Ten team getting in because wins, losses, common teams, and this and that kind of a deal, bro. It's an interesting conversation to have, and going into this week and then going into rivalry week next week, it is going to play out in some crazy outcomes, possibly. And on top of that, you have Notre Dame playing Army. And Army's always giving Notre Dame hella trouble. And then I think, doesn't Notre Dame play USC next week, which is a rivalry game as well? And no matter the records, it's like one of those throw them out games. So there's a lot that can happen over the next 2 weeks, man.
I think that the Notre Dame Army game, I mean, Notre Dame destroyed Navy, so I don't know where Army compares level-wise from that standpoint, but it's
I'm getting us so off track, aren't I?
What's that?
I said I'm getting us so off track.
No, that's good to get us off track. I mean, I love Army. I think Army has a much better chance than Navy of beating Notre Dame.
I do too.
I thought Navy, even though they were undefeated, I didn't think they were as good as Army. Now, whatever happens in the Army-Navy game, that I think who's good is really irrelevant in that game because that's like a war between 2 sides. But but as far as I think ours have a good chance of being able to like compete at and possibly win that game because Army's run game and their guys up front are a lot better, and their defense to me is a lot better. Know enough about Army to know, I haven't watched enough of them to really know the details and looking like what they've done statistically so far. And that's the only thing I don't know, because when you go and face the one thing that Notre Dame has an advantage on is they faced Navy already. So they've already seen this offense, and they are going to have a better understanding of how to handle it. You know what I mean? So
very true.
That's the way I look at it, I guess.
Yeah, but hey, do you mind if we swing back to this Indiana-Ohio State?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So obviously they're playing at Ohio State. And I personally think, this is just my take, and I would love to hear your take on it. If Indiana only loses, let's say they lose. If they lose on like a one possession game and they're in this game the entire time, like, it's hard to win at Ohio State in the horseshoe. We all know that. And for Indiana to go in, this may be the most important game in Indiana's football history, bro. Like,
it definitely is. There's no doubt. Doubt.
Yeah, I agree. And for them to go in there, if they win, they better be a top 4 team. I don't want to get one of these other teams with one loss over them just because Indiana is like a hoax or something like that. No, they deserve to be in the top 4. Well, they will be, because they're a major conference that won their potentially. But if they go into the here's a crazy thing about all this, Dave. If they go into the Big Ten championship game and lose that game, now how far are they going to drop? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many questions.
They can't drop them too far. First of all, I hope they beat Ohio State. That's the first thing I'm hoping. So,
yeah, I agree.
It's fun to root against Ohio State. I don't know why it is. It's just fun to root against them.
Hey, this is how much disrespect Indiana has right now. So I was doing some research on this game and everything like that, and on Indiana's quarterback, Curtis Rourke. When I looked it up, it said Nathan Rourke. Do you know who Nathan Rourke is?
No.
Probably not. Nobody does. Unless you're in the Canadian Football League, he's a quarterback in the Canadian Football League. So whoever wrote this article.
So they put that in. They wrote an article and they put
on Nathan Rourke, and they said how good he is, but they didn't say anything about Curtis Rourke, who Curtis Rourke transferred in. Now, understand this. Think about how important this game is for Curtis Rourke. Is he transferred in from Ohio State? Remember that.
Did he really? I didn't know. So the quarterback for Indiana is originally from Ohio State?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, bro. So think about how unbelievably personal this game is for this young man. I hope I'm not getting caught up in stupid things. But
what do you mean?
In terms of, Curtis Rourke transferring. So he moved up. I am sorry. He was at, I think, University of Ohio. My bad.
Oh, okay.
University of Ohio. Rourke also remained grateful to the staff at Ohio for being the only Division I program offered him. So, again, that's why I wanted to double check this. So he was an Ohio guy. He probably still has a lot of hatred towards Ohio State because Ohio State didn't give him a chance, and he went to the University of Ohio, the only Division I program that offered him the opportunity to play, and then he transferred into Indiana through the transfer portal. So there's a lot of things going on with Curtis Rourke, and plus Curtis Rourke, he's potentially like a back end type of potential Heisman. I don't think he's going to be even in the top 5, but he's having a hell of a season. 24,000 or 2,400 passing yards this season, 21-4 interception or touchdown to interception with an 88 passer rating. Guy's balling.
That's crazy. And he's like a steady Eddie too. From what I've read, like he's a guy that
he takes care of the football, man.
Yeah. Nobody looks at him as being this like unbelievable quarterback, but he just is an unbelievable quarterback. Like he's not. He's like a Shane. He's like a Shane.
What's that?
Like, and he's like a Shane Stafford.
Oh, geez, no.
He's a legend, but they don't want to put him in the Heisman. He's going to go down as the greatest quarterback in Indiana history. But they'll go with. But everyone else will go with.
Yeah, they always.
Who was the guy? Oh, I'm sorry.
What's that?
No. All right. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is he reminds me of Sean King when Sean King was at Tulane and took Tulane to a 10-0 record and didn't get any praise for what he did. He just did all the dirty work, made plays when they needed to be made, and then almost took the NFC championship game with the Tampa Bay Bucks and almost went to the Super Bowl when the Rams won by a drop football that was controversial back in I forget what year that was when Sean King was playing with the Bucks. And that's what he reminds me of, is a guy that doesn't get the recognition he deserves because it's not always pretty, and he doesn't have the crazy Shedeur Sanders highlights and all those kind of crazy things, or the Carson Beck highlights, or even the quarterback for Ohio State kind of highlights. It's kind of frustrating from that respect. I'll even say this: the kid from Miami, he talking about Heisman type of thing. That dude from Miami, he's thrown for like almost 3,500 yards, and I think he's thrown for like 30 some touchdowns and only like 5 or 6 picks. So the guy just wins, though, is what I'm getting at.
It's interesting because you're right. Like in today's era, if you don't look your Johnny around like Johnny Manziel back there, they don't get excited about it. Like meanwhile, you could probably just stand there and throw the pass and complete it instead of having to run all around and then throw the same pass. So but I digress there. That's my thought process of quarterbacking is, wait a minute. So you're gonna end up throwing that dig route, but some guys have to run around for 20 seconds to come back to throwing a dig route that they could have just dropped and threw it right away. But but that's what they like on TV. Like, so translation to the NFL. Here's my belief. Okay, and I could be wildly wrong because I have been before. When you run around like that, like Caleb Williams did, okay, and don't throw the ball on time, that wears your receivers out, okay? And in college, they may not say shit about it, but in the NFL, they're going to say something to you about that. So, like, Caleb Williams has had games where he's been able to do it, and then he's had games where, like, he's really struggled. My thought process is you want to run if necessary at the NFL, unless you're Lamar. Everybody else is not Lamar, okay? Lamar is Lamar. Kyler Murray is the only other guy. But Kyler Murray is much better this year. You know why? He doesn't run around.
He's not doing
He only runs when necessary.
Yes.
He's letting his receivers do it. My theory is on receivers and running backs is because I once was a running back at least, is that they're all psychopaths and all want the ball all the time. Okay. So yes. So if you're running around and making the whole game about you, not that you're doing it on purpose, okay? I'm not saying you're doing it on purpose, making it, but to the receivers and the running backs who are psychopaths, they're going to see you doing that and be like, oh, this is all about him. He wants to run around and then fire it to me and me make some magical catch, right? But at the NFL level, those dudes are like, dude, I was open the first time before you did the damn scramble drill, okay?
Yeah. I'm going to take it one step further, Dave.
Go ahead, do it.
I'm going to take it one step further. You know who really gets upset about that running around BS? Is your offensive line.
Absolutely.
Because they have incentives in the NFL that if you don't give up a sack or you don't give up this many sacks, you get this bonus on this game or as a unit or whatever. The quarterback may have an agreement or whatever. So the offensive line, if they don't know where you're going to be, they get called for holding calls. So they look like shit. And then they get pissed off and then they get frustrated. And then it comes out and they look at you like, hold on, quarterback, I thought you were saying that you were going to stay in the pocket. You were going to be here. You're going to get rid of the ball. You're going to do it the right way, blah, 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 and only make plays when we need to make plays, kind of a deal with your feet. How am I supposed to know where you're going to be when we talked about we're going to chip on this side, we're going to do this, we're going to slide to protection, but next thing you know, 1,001, 1,000, you're already getting out of there. You don't even give us 2 seconds to protect you. Like, that's unheard of, where the average is right around like 2.2-ish, I think. I don't know. It could have changed now because of how quickly people get rid of the ball nowadays, with certain throws. But the offensive line, those are the ones that I worry about as a quarterback because that's my body on the line when they want to stop believing in me, as a quarterback. The wide receivers, hey, we can always find another one. There's millions of them out there. Now, there are only a few great ones, but we all have other players that can go out there and run routes. You only have so many 6'6", 6'8" guys that weigh 300 pounds that can move around the way they do and believe in you. So I totally agree with what you're saying, but I also wanted to just say it's not about wide receivers, man. It's also about that offensive line, man. You got to earn their trust. And if you're running around like a madman and not trusting them to do their job, and that's why I think Caleb Williams had a much better game, not only the game plan that the offense coordinator put in for him, and, man, we are all over the place, but that's okay. It's a frenzy. In a literal sense, frenzy. We're just all over. But you get my point, though, right?
Absolutely. I think your point is very important because quarterbacks, the other skill positions and the linemen, they are expecting a certain level of consistency, and so you want to have a guy that can move when he needs to. You no longer are you going to be able to get away with unless the guy's that good of a passer, and everybody's a pretty good passer now. That makes it. I mean, Lamar was unique in that he developed into one, but
very true.
If you don't around and you don't throw the ball on time with consistency, and guys, you're right, like feel like they're going to be frustrated, and I think it hurts your team. I think Kyler Murray and the team is a lot better this year. They're my example because he obviously has the athletic ability to run whenever he wants, but now that he's kind of dialed it in and run when necessary, right? Like on the line, obviously he's going to be freaking lethal, right? Because I mean, how are you going to stop him on a 2-yard line? It's just he's too shifty and quick. But
plus you can't see him because he's 5'10".
Right, and you can't see him. But from 20 to 20, you got, I think, playing the game a certain way, unless you're Lamar who really can run. And like I said, Lamar is better now that he's relying on a running back and his tight end and the more you rely on those guys, you actually become more effective when you do run because they're not expecting you to run and they're not teeing off after you on that. And I think that's because there was this craze time period right around when Lamar came in. We got to get a running quarterback in here. Everyone needs a running quarterback. No. Yeah. What you need is a quarterback who has mobility. Okay.
Yes.
And very well said. That you do need because these guys are fast as fuck now. So you need. I mean, look what Aaron Rodgers looks like. He can't move. He can't get out of his own way, and he's horrible because he's thinking he can still move and he can't. And he just keeps getting sacked. He's making dumb plays. because in his head he's this person, and in reality he's
Yes. You said it exactly right. He, in his mind, he thinks he's Aaron Rodgers of 5 years ago, but his legs know that he's not, and he can't do it the way he used to. His arm can't do it either. Yes, if he's sitting in a pocket and his feet underneath him, absolutely can. Which brings me to another point, actually, as far as like Lamar and that whole, I'm sure you've seen ESPN and everything like that with the 2-point conversion and the play call without the King in the backfield for Baltimore. Did you see any of that?
No.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Tell me.
So here's my biggest thing. Okay, if you don't want him in, if you don't want the King in, everybody knows who the King is, obviously, but if you don't want him in that running back and you're putting some other guy in, why would you not have Lamar Jackson boot to his right or run to his right, which is a strong hand? So if he needs to make a play with his throwing arm, it's in his dominant hand.
Oh, yes, I did see that play. It's so funny because I was on. Who the hell was watching it with me? Oh, actually, remember I was mentioning that one kid who's a really good football player on our team who's playing basketball. Troy. His parents were Troy and him were hanging out, and his parents were just picking him up, and we were watching the game, and they showed that exact highlight, and they said the first thing that came out of my mouth. Why are they rolling him to the left?
Correct.
That is stupid. People do this, and we talked about it last week with LSU's defense, and I see it again. And we talk offline about like, I want people to realize this: if you're a high school coach, or you're a Division III coach, or you coach in the UFL,
wherever,
or you coach over in Europe, or let me tell you something. It's just about opportunity. You're as good as a lot of these guys. If you're a good coach at those levels, and if you're like a guy who's won championships and shown to be innovative to an extent, you can coach in the NFL. No doubt in my mind, because it's just adjusting to the speed. It's adjusting to what the players can do. But as far as scheme-wise and the ability to do it, what you learn in high school will apply to the NFL. Because these things are so stupid. I said there's no high school coach that would roll their guy to the left who is Lamar Jackson when he can run like he can and he can throw if he's rolling to the right. Who the hell would do that?
I don't know. That and you know what blows my mind? And like I love Get Up. I love that show. I do, but I'm starting to not love it as much because of certain whatever reasons. But I'm surprised that was never, ever. The biggest issue was they were talking about, oh, the King isn't in there. They focused on that. Nobody focused on the fact that they ran the play to Lamar Jackson's offhand. That's just stupid to me. Why would you not give him an outlet? If you want to sprint him to the sideline, that's great, because they had the ball placed in the middle of the field. And to my knowledge, I don't know, maybe the 2-point conversion has changed, but I thought on 2-point conversions, you can move it to whatever hash you want it or wherever on the field to favor. It has to be on the certain yard line, yes. But even still, if it's in the middle of the field, cool, no problem. Why would you not run him to his right so he can make a play with his right hand? Because if you watch that film of him, he tried to switch it to his right hand just to give somebody a chance. That was the biggest takeaway I took, other than, obviously the King not being on the field.
I thought it was so stupid. And to me, like, what guy wouldn't understand? Like, what coach would do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's
it doesn't make sense, bro.
It does. doesn't make sense unless you thought you had some sort of trickeration on even there in a pivotal part in the game. In a pivotal point in the game, I could see it in the middle of the game. Maybe you're trying to catch somebody off. But at the end of the game, they are ready on defense.
Yeah.
They are ready.
And what's the thing? Yeah, and to build off of what you're saying, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I feel I have strong emotions with this because, to be honest with you, it happened to me when I was playing arena football, and I know it's only arena football, but it was a second round of the playoffs. It was at San Jose, which is a difficult place to win, and Tim Markham, God rest his soul, won some of the most championships, or the most championships, if not tied for him, in arena football. I was on the right hash. I thought we would run a play to get me on the left hash. So now I'd be, if I get chased out of the pocket or anything, it'd be to my right side. So I had to throw just like Lamar did. I threw a pass to win the game with my left hand, and it was incomplete. Whereas if I would have been able to fire that pig, fire the freaking pigskin, boy. What'd they say? What movie did that from? Anyway, if I would have been able to
from
do that,
Varsity Blues. Varsity Blues? No.
Yeah, Varsity Blues. Fire the freaking pigs. If I would have been able to do that with my right hand as opposed to my left, and it truly lofted up. I was able to throw it from my basketball background and everything like that. It just fluttered, and the DB made a play on it. But if I would have been able to do it with my right hand, we would have won that game. And that is the first thing that came out in my mind. You can have a great 2-point play, but why not do it to the right side?
I always like. I think I don't understand. If you're, my thought, if you're gonna lose, okay, lose running the best play you can.
Yeah, with your best personnel.
Best personnel in the best situation. Why lose being cute? I don't understand that whole philosophy. Like it's like there's times to be cute. The end of the game, listen, you're better off running a trick play, in my opinion. You're in that area. Even though I don't think you should, but you'd be better off running a trick play because you're at least trying to catch somebody off guard with something that maybe you can execute on. But that is so hard to execute on, and it's funny because I see people do that all the time. They do it all the time.
Yeah, but
it was exacerbated by how it ended, like how he was like getting killed and trying to flip it, and But I listen, the Jets. I don't know if you watched the game.
I didn't watch the game. No, I just saw some of the highlights. Lowlights.
I got to show you this because you're going to. As a quarterback, you would be excited, but. And which Anthony Richardson, who is a horrendous quarterback right now. I'm not saying he won't be good because he's a rookie. But
you're talking about the sweep he ran.
No, not the sweep. The sweep I thought was that went to the left, but that's not what I'm talking. At the end of the game, so the Jets were up. They score. They go up. They get the ball back. Okay, Anthony Richardson could only throw accurately down the field. He cannot throw consistently accurately underneath. You know what they play? Cover 2. You know what he runs? Vertical on the outside. You know what he does? He drops it right in the bucket and completes for like a 30-yard gain or whatever, 25-yard, 30-yard gain. Okay? The game was 2.5 minutes into the game, and they went cover 2?
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you play either match, which would be a version of cover 4, or cover 4, or some version of even 3 high? Okay,
whether like we were saying last week, cover 6.
Yes, if you want to roll and do some fancy things with that. But why would you play cover 2? As soon as the guy up top Caesar in cover 2, he has to run vertical, and he throws it to the outside. I know it. He knows Anthony Richardson can make that throw.
Yeah.
I don't think Anthony Richardson can throw a dig, but he can throw that throw.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, without having to find it and pull it up, that's basically what was going on. It was unbelievable. And then he completes another pass. He actually made a nice throw. I don't remember what coverage. He made a nice, put them in range, and then they score. Then the Jets get the ball back. Okay.
Yeah.
The Jets get the ball back, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't get rid of the football. Like, I don't know, I have to see what the routes are, and maybe I should pull it up so we could see it, so we could talk about it. But, like, I don't know if they'll have it. But
I agree.
He gets himself sacked twice. And the first one, which was the first play, I think it was the first play, he's in trouble. He's about to get sacked, and he tries to flip the ball forward. It goes backwards. Okay, it's a fumble. They recover it.
Yeah.
It was so stupid by him. Like, do you even care about the game? Like, that's what I mean, I know he's trying to make a play. I know he does. But he wouldn't have gotten away with that play even when he was 25.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's overcompensating, bro. I really do.
I mean, you played late in your career too, so you can make. I mean, I don't know if any of these. You weren't that late. Obviously, you were in your 30s, but I mean, it's still a difference being probably 40. Is obviously it's pretty.
Yeah. Well, the way they take care of their bodies now, it's like you're 35.
Oh, the Jets just fired General Manager Joe Douglas. Thank goodness.
I saw that.
Dude, he should be fired, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Unk and Ocho blame Rodgers for Jets loss. It's not only his fault, but I'm telling you, there's a lot. I actually tweeted at one point, and then the Jets came back to take the lead, so I was like, oh, let's go. But I'm like, the Jets should fire another head coach immediately.
Yeah.
I'm like, they fired one, which you could argue whether he should have been fired or shouldn't have been fired at that time. Probably should have waited to the end of the season. But now the guy is taking his place. Okay, I get it. He's really a defensive guy, and he's kind of letting the other guys do it. I get it. He's put in this situation. But my goodness, like, you've been in the league for 20 years. You can't manage a team? I mean,
Dave, I can tell you this much. Being in that kind of situation as a coach, again, in the Arena League, but at a professional level, the reason why they hired the D coordinator is because they said, hey, Ron, you take control of the offense. It's yours. You want this. So make it work. We're going to hire a D coordinator to get as a head coach to really focus on the defense side of the ball. This is just my thinking of it. I don't know for sure, but I've been in this situation. And actually what we did with the Washington Valor, and we ended up winning the championship, different scenario, obviously, because the Jets are not winning a championship anytime soon. But you do that, so now the quarterback, who basically was the offensive coordinator for the entire year, now he has complete control, which I don't think is right thing to do. All he's going to do is confer with the offensive coordinator, quote unquote offensive coordinator, when Aaron Rodgers is the offensive coordinator, and see what happens. And it's not working out. Like, Aaron Rodgers needs to understand he's not that same player. Like you just said 10, 15 minutes ago, what he thinks in his head, your legs cannot do that same thing.
There's no doubt about it. I don't know if you can see this because I apologize.
Yeah.
We're on the mobile.
You're good, man.
We're on the mobile, so it's hard to say. But if you watch this, okay, so this is the pass by Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. Yeah, they're playing like cover 2. I mean, this is the most basic cover
Are you
two.
joking? How stupid is that? What does he do well? He throws down the field well. That's what he does well. Okay? I seen him. I made a video of him when he was at college of him throwing the ball like 71 yards or some crazy, maybe farther than that. It was some absurd throw. So what is he most confident in doing? What has he done his whole life really well?
And why, Dave, remember I said this last week? I don't know what game it was. Why would you line up in the same defense you're going to play, especially against a guy who doesn't have a ton of confidence because he just got benched and now the first came back? So you're going to show him the defense that you're going to play and play that same defense and allow him to make a pre-snap read and a post-snap read. This is foolish.
Shane, I got to tell you this. Anytime people were in this is high school, in 2x2, my favorite defense was match, okay? We would all read number 2, okay? Now, at the end of the game, I would just play cover 4. I mean, I wouldn't even fuck around. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even fuck around with match. But we would all read number 2, and that would tell us, okay, what is that? If number 2 goes a vertical now, we run with our guy, right?
Right.
But we would play a lot deeper than this, obviously. So
I got you. Well, they have more speed than you did in high school. Just a little bit.
Absolutely. So, but the point is, why are they in this putting themselves? This is as vanilla cover 2 as there is.
Yes.
This is day 1 cover 2. You walk into the high school and you show the kids cover 2. This is day 1 cover 2. Day 1. Craziness, dude. Crazy.
Granted, what is it? It's what is it? 2nd and 4?
2nd and 6.
That's even worse because now they could run the football too.
Yeah, right. Well, all you do is look at if I don't know what they're doing as far as how they look at the box. He left 6 in. These guys didn't widen enough, right?
Yeah.
And they're playing with a tight end, so this guy stays in the box. So it's 2x2, but with a tight end. Yeah. So he's kind of you got 7 on 6. You could,
right?
So I mean, I don't know, but you're right. Right now, they really can run whatever the hell they want against this defense.
Exactly.
I mean, that was mind blowing to me. That was the first thing. Okay, then they okay, so I mean, that was a nice play. All right, they kept playing. They're playing some. They're trying to man up some form of it and play 2 over the top. I could scrutinize that probably too, but this was the other thing that blew my mind. Blew my mind. Yeah. Why away from the motion? Why away from the motion were you not playing run hard?
Correct.
From the get-go.
You should be crashing somebody right now to set the edge.
Just, I understand. If I would have thought, they might run power because they're showing pass and now maybe get a guy out of position. But no. The Colts ran away from it, and it's crazy, dude. They just have an arm. This is just getting your ass kicked. To me, this is just getting your ass kicked. Yeah. I mean, oh my God! Like number 4 should get another job because it's not football. Football's not for him.
Hopefully, it's not lifting heavy things because he obviously doesn't have the lower half of his body.
Ran over by a quarterback.
Come on, man. We're strong.
By the way, I don't know. By the way, I thought this was a stupid call. Okay.
I love how you just brushed over that quarterbacks are strong aspect.
Yeah. Listen, this guy is strong. I will give him that. I do think he is a beast. I'll give him that. I mean, there's I can't rip him. I get that. They're able to get a body. Okay, now I don't get this call at all offensively. They're going for 2. Man, all the plays you can run in your playbook, you got this fucking monstrous playbook, and the best thing you could come up with was inside power. Inside power? Yep, inside power. That's the best thing you go. By the way, who's their best player in the Jets? You wouldn't know this, but Quinnen Williams is the best player on the defense. He's their defense tackle.
Oh,
And their
100%. That he came from USC, no?
I don't know where he's from, but guess who makes the tackle? Yes. Oh, yes. Quinnen. Oh, I could have predicted that. You don't think he's going to be ready on that play? Come on, man. That's just dumb. But they got lucky because the only team dumber than them is the New York Jets.
But here's what I'm going to say to you, Dave, is this is smart coaching potentially if the guy, the OC from the Colts, if he was thinking this far ahead, hey, let's show it. Let them think we're going to run it. And then in an important down to win a game, we're going to go ahead and run something different.
That's probably what they did.
That's what I would do as an OC. I would set everything up to then, in a time of need, to go ahead and do something different.
They probably did. Now you get the Jets.
Athlete on the field.
We already. Oh, they didn't show the fumble play. Why? You missed it. That's stupid. I don't know why they didn't show it here.
Too far?
No, I didn't. I don't think so. Let me see. Hold on. No, I didn't forward too far.
No.
That was the play where he. That's why they're 2nd and 23. By the way, it was first down. Aaron Rodgers created a 13-yard loss. Dumb. All they do is get field goal range. They had like 40 seconds left.
That's stupid. It. Which you would always want Aaron Rodgers in that situation in the past. And Devontae Adams with him.
All right, 2nd and 23. Normally that wouldn't be a bad play, but like they have no time. And so throwing it over the middle made absolutely no sense. Dude. He already gave up. He already conceded.
No, you got to take what they give you. You got to take what they give you, man.
There's 20 seconds left.
Did they not have a timeout? I didn't even see that.
No timeouts. No timeouts.
Yeah. Well, 20 seconds left. You can still get close enough to where he can throw a Hail Mary. Aaron Rodgers has been known for that.
Okay, fair enough. Third and 7. What is he doing, dude?
Taking sacks.
I mean, it's 3rd and 7, and there's 9 seconds on the clock. He was trying to throw him Hail Mary with 18 seconds left, or whatever it was.
That's
okay.
No,
he wasn't going to try and get another 20 yards on an out or something. You could do that in your last play.
Get 10 yards.
What is he doing, dude?
I don't know, bro. That's your team.
It's my son's team. He was screaming and yelling. I'll tell you. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like I don't get what's going on over there. Obviously, that's why Joe Douglas is fired. You know what Aaron Rodgers has done a phenomenal job of since he's gotten there? Getting coaches fired.
Hey, he did that at Green Bay.
And you know what? Like
he did it at Green Bay now.
Oh, you're right. Was it McCarthy?
Yeah.
And then the GM, who was a legend.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's got an OC fired. He got a lot of coaches fired. Yeah.
So he was falling off a little bit, even though he's still making the playoffs at that time.
Yep.
So, I like Aaron Rodgers as far as I find him incredibly interesting. He's obviously a very smart guy, super smart guy, like one of the smartest quarterbacks there is. And I think that his intelligence is getting in the way of his
winning, leadership, all that.
Like it should be this way. I could see like the smart guy in him. The Elon Muskiness, you know what I mean? But Elon Musk with Donald Trump would be effective on this stuff. But if Elon Musk, if Elon Musk ran for president on his own, he would probably create chaos because he's so smart. He's so brilliant.
Yeah,
He wants things to be thinks things could be this way, like
I'm
that
with you.
without some level of practicality. It's
Yes.
hard, right? Now, as an entrepreneur, give me Aaron Rodgers, give me fucking Elon Musk. These guys are gonna come up with shit that you can't. You know, maybe Aaron Rodgers could be an amazing. I don't think he would have patience for it. Just but maybe Aaron Rodgers could be incredible mind as far as I don't know if he would be a great coach or not, but maybe he could be from behind the scenes really good.
I was going to say, let him invest his money into smart things. Let's do that. Yeah, there you go. Let's get him off of all that other stuff.
Yeah, off the field. Yeah. And I just think that he's, there comes a point, and having watched that fight the other night, even though I think half it was fixed to a certain extent.
Tyson and Jake.
Yeah, I'm sure you watched it.
I did.
Even though I think that it was fixed, there's a lot of things that were fixed to a certain extent.
Sure.
The one thing that I said, regardless of what the fixed or isn't fixed outcome of all this stuff is, and I noticed is 58 is still 58, dude.
Did you see his legs not come with him?
No, his mind was like, I can go. Yeah.
Dude,
see his mind like
he couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it, dude.
Legs were like, hey, it reminded me of Richard Pryor when Richard Pryor talked about, I forget the boxer, but this was back in the 70s, obviously. And dude, older people will get this. I don't know if the people that watch this will get this, but if they go watch Richard Pryor live on Sunset Strip, dude, the one boxer was like, I'm not getting my ass knocked out because you can't handle a punch. And the legs were like, woo. That's how Mike Tyson was. His legs, he was trying to duck, dodge, and throw punches and do all his normal stuff, but his legs were like 4 feet behind him. It was just his upper body that was moving forward. His legs could not get up underneath him because after the third round, dude, he could not move. He had no power in his punches. And Jake Paul was like, go ahead and hit me again. I don't care. And I give respect to Jake Paul, though. Jake Paul is a legitimate fighter, bro. He was keeping him away long enough with his jabs.
It was set up for him to have an advantage. But I do think that
it was only 2-minute rounds, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like Jake Paul could run for 2 minutes. But I think it was Tyson that wanted the 2-minute rounds. I think
that's what I agree. I totally agree. It was set up.
He knew he couldn't do it. And listen, I'm sure he's great for a 58-year-old. He looked phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Like no 58-year-old wouldn't want to be built like he was built, right? So kudos to him to being able to get himself in that kind of shape. But Father Time is undefeated. Undefeated.
Mike Tyson used to be undefeated, but now, Father Time won.
Father Time won, dude, and he just and like you're right, and I bet you his upper body and his movement of his upper body probably still going at a certain pace, but the lower body it definitely is not.
It's like you were saying with Aaron Rodgers, like his head is moving at one speed, but the body just doesn't do it. It can't.
I think you could throw a great ball a lot longer than your legs can handle the movement in the pocket. Same thing with boxing. It's no different, right? You could probably still punch with close to the same speed. Yeah. You can move that upper torso because the way the nervous system works and everything, probably close to the same speed. But you can't move those knees, man. I like standing on those knees. It's just like standing on stilts, dude. At a certain point,
Dave, remember, I told you like what Steve DeBerg always taught me is throwing a football at the quarterback position is just like boxing. Without your lower body, the upper body eventually is going to go away. And he always taught me to have a base underneath you, a wide base, so you don't take that long wind up to throw it. In the same way with Tyson, like he was trying to get in there Jake Paul was just jabbing him off long enough to get his legs tired. After that third round, Tyson had nothing. In the same way with Aaron Rodgers, like he thinks that his body is still moving the same, but I promise you, when he watches film, he's realizing, damn, I can't get my legs underneath me, and I don't have the arm strength anymore to make certain throws. And here's the deal. When you play at that level, the matter of inches are miles.
Oh, miles.
Inches are miles. Missing a pass by 2 inches is like missing a pass in left field.
You might as well just throw it in the stands. Might as well just throw it in the stands.
That's my point. You're exactly right. Because you try and make the same throw, and guess what? It gets picked off because you're off by 2 inches. It gets tipped up in the air, and then somebody picks it off. Or you can't get it over the D lineman. It gets tipped and knocked down. Or you're not fast enough to get your feet underneath you, and now you get sacked. You know, all those kinds of things, man, as you get older, just from experience, you know when it's your time, bro. And it's his time. Because he can't play that way. If he's a Tom Brady and a stand in the pocket kind of guy, which I don't think he can be, he always made his plays moving around. I don't think he can ever be a stand in the pocket guy because he's always ad-lib. Just the same way with, what's the name? Golly, Kansas City.
Mahomes.
Thank you. Not to say that he's anywhere near there, but their game is very similar. And Mahomes doesn't move around in the pocket to run. He moves around in the pocket to make plays. Once that goes away and you eliminate that from your ability of being a quarterback, you might as well go ahead and get rid of it or understand that you need to change in your own mind. If you're not too egotistical, you'll go ahead and do that kind of stuff and help the team from that standpoint and maybe hand it off instead of thinking you have the opportunity to go ahead and make a big play. We'll see.
I think you're right. Well, the only reason I'll say we'll see is because the Jets as an organization suck so much they could suck the life out of any person on that team. So you know, I as much as I 100% agree, I think he should retire. I could see him going somewhere that's a good team and squeezing out a year, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's so great, blah blah. You know, because
like a Brett Favre,
right? Go if he ends up going on a team that's offensive line, he probably would be okay.
You know what's amazing is if Brett Favre, because Sam Darnold is not that good, if they trade him to Minnesota, he would literally follow a career path of a guy that he was trying to get away from.
Isn't that funny? Because he went to the Jets and then back to
and then I'm telling you, in Minnesota, if Minnesota has a consistent, who I like Sam Darnold.
He's done great. He's done phenomenal.
He's so inconsistent, bro. If they would get a consistent quarterback like Aaron Rodgers that knows how to get Jeffries the ball all the time and the tight end the ball and use the running game, bro, he would fit in so well in Minnesota. It's so ironic the way that's working out. We are so off page of what we were planning today, but that's all right.
It's great. We already determined that we're both rooting for Indiana, and we're both going to predict Indiana to win.
Yeah. So, what about the Tennessee game? What are your thoughts on that?
I watched. I was a little bit back and forth watching it. Obviously, that was the big game. I watched the first half, and I thought Tennessee looked really good. I really liked Imalueva, the quarterback.
Yeah.
Carson Beck, I go back and forth with. Like sometimes I'm like, wow, and then other times I'm like, what the?
He balled this weekend.
He balled. Yes. Ball. He's a little bit of he's not he doesn't move like Johnny Manziel, but he's a little bit renegade-ish for a quarterback in a sense that like
he definitely does not move like Manziel.
No, he doesn't move like him. But he does some like things that are like wow, and then all of a sudden this does some shit. I'm like, wow, that's pretty shitty, So So he's wowing both ends of it. But yeah, I thought Tennessee was not as good as I thought they would be.
Agreed.
So,
They were out physical, and this game showed me that Georgia is potentially as good. To your point, if Beck can play and take care of the ball, hell, he was 25, 43, 50, and he had 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. And then the way they got their tight ends involved, if they can do that and be physical, if Georgia gets in the college football playoffs, and if their defense, this is what scares me about Georgia. I don't think their defense is good enough to win a national championship because I don't think their rush defense is good enough to stop big-time runners.
right.
But they can make noise. But if they can continue to get their physicality like submerged into a game, I'll tell you, Ugas, man, Georgia, they're going to bark all over the national playoff scene if they get a chance to get in there.
Yeah, who? And I got to run in a couple minutes only because I got to pick up my son. Otherwise, I
No,
need
you're
to
good,
do this
brother.
for 5 more hours. My wife's away at business, so I have the responsibility of picking him up.
Of being a mature
Which,
dad.
by the way, I messed up yesterday. So I talked to this is I want to get back into this, but this is funny. So me and the dog are taking a little rest around like 1:45. She calls me up at like 2:15. Okay, make sure you pick him up. I'm like, I know. I'm just resting. I'm gonna leave in like 5 minutes. Well, I fall asleep, fall asleep. I wake up. I'm supposed to be picked up at 2:30. It's 2:36. What the fuck is my dog eating? What are you eating? 2:36. I'm like, I grab the dog. I'm like, let's go. You know the dogs. You start sprinting, they start sprinting, right? So we sprint right into the car. He's definitely eating like some toy or something. I think he has a death wish. I would too if I had to go in a cage when I had to sit for 3 hours. When I call it a cage, they don't like when I call it a cage. And what is it? What is it called? A crate. When you gotta go in a crate.
Well, here's what you got to do. You got to make it the happiest time of their life. So you don't say like get in the crate. What you do is like, hey, let's go in the crate. Let's go in the crate. Here's a treat. Hey. So if you make it when you leave, see, most of the times human beings, what we do is we don't understand dog psychology. No. And what we do is we are happy to see them when we come home, and we make it sad when we leave, where we need to do the opposite.
That's me.
And we need to ignore them when we come home, and we need to make it happy when we leave. And then they don't destruct things. They don't terrorize. They're like, oh, okay, he'll be back, because they have no concept of time. Only we do.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again. They have no concept of time?
No. And that's what the psychologists, the dog psyches say. Like, I don't understand it completely, Dave, but
that makes sense, because I did wonder, like, he puts up a fight, but once he goes in, sometimes now he goes right in with me, and he goes right in with Nicole. Like, I don't know.
How old is your dog?
Maybe like 6 months, maybe.
Oh, yeah. The other thing I would do is cover your crate make it blacked out.
Oh, okay, so he sleeps, right?
Yeah.
So, but you're on my shoe now, dude. But what's funny is when Troy tries to put him in, he's like a bucking bronco, because he thinks Troy, like, I feel like he feels like that's his, like, literally his sibling, like he fights with him like that, like he tries to bite on him and mess with him, and when his sibling tries to put him in there, he's like, hell no.
It's a power thing. Absolutely. Because dogs are meant to be leaders of the pack. You're the leader of the pack, wife's leader of the pack, but yet he knows that Troy is not the leader of the pack. So
Right.
he's going to try and battle for that aspect of it. But if y'all all get together and make it happy for him to go in there and make that crate his safety zone, he'll be more than happy to go in there and be like, okay, cool, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to hold the fort down.
It's the funniest when I tell him to put it in. The kid, the dog starts bucking like a bronco, and he's like, I can't handle him. I said, and then like as any 9-year-old would be, he's like, I'm gonna kick him. Don't be kicking him.
Don't do that, man, because then you're just gonna cause.
Like I know he's annoying. You just give him, but he's learning. He'll get. I was like, just walk him nice and easy to it, which I have been doing. I am walking him easy, but I think about it as don't be sad, because that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Because if I'm not sad about it, he won't be sad about it.
Correct.
And then he'll just go in and like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. Duh,
Yeah. Duh. Yeah.
That's by the way, I put his dog. If I tell him stories at night, I have all these different animals in there, the stories. Yeah. And the last story I told him, which was last night, I put his dog in it, and I did his dog as a human voice, and he loves it because I make him sound dumb. I'm like, "Hey, Troy."
Hey, so one last question: do you normally leave him alone, the dog alone, this time of the day?
He's gonna come with me to pick up Troy right now. So, no, but in the morning at different times. Listen, when I do my podcast, he's been here the whole time. He goes upstairs, probably eats paint or something, and comes back down. But he doesn't. He just sits here. He doesn't bother me.
What I would do is, how is he on the leash?
Yeah, he's pretty good on the leash.
Pretty good.
Yeah. He doesn't he goes where you want him to go and stuff like that.
Would you trust? Would you trust Troy taking him out alone?
He'll yank his arm out. He almost yanks my shoulder out.
Okay.
He's good. When he wants to start sprinting somewhere, my left shoulder is fucked because he's yanked it out almost a couple times.
You're making my point for me. So what you can do is in-house leash training. So keep him on the leash, and when you do these podcasts, keep your foot on that. And don't even acknowledge when he tries to move. You keep that leash tight to where his neck is down to the ground.
Yeah.
And then that way he learns, well, whenever the pack leader moves, I move. But if the pack leader stays here, I stay here. And he's not responding to your verbal commands. He's responding to your movements, and you as that leader it's the psychology of it. It really does work. It's going to take you a couple months.
That's a great tip
to do it. But just keep your foot down on it or tie it to something where he can't move. And only when you want him to move. He shouldn't have free reign of the house just yet. He's too young. You need to control where he goes. You need to control when he eats. You need to do all that stuff. Otherwise, he's going to start eating up shoes. He's going to start destroying things. That's why I asked, do you normally leave this time of day? Because he starts feeling that anxiety. So he wants you to pay attention to him, just like a kid when they act up.
He knows we go get Troy right now. That's why he's starting to move. He knows. My wife usually takes him, but he knows it's time to go. I see him. He's ready to go.
So he's getting anxious. He's getting anxious because he knows you're going to leave him alone.
No, he comes with us. He's excited. I think he's excited because he knows we're going to go and get him.
Gotcha.
And he's going to go for a ride, and then Troy's going to come in, and he's going to hug him. Every day it's the same thing. So he does the same thing every day.
You're training. So those things you're training him to do.
Because I see him right now. He's acting up. I got
I'll let you go, man. But
my basketball shoes.
So anytime you leave the house, you always want to just make it just average. Like if you're leaving the house with him, he should never walk out of the house before you. on the leash, you should always be the first one to leave the door. Because if not, that way, because what if you open the door and he sees a squirrel and he sprints out and then gets hit by a car? Yep. Whereas if you always walk out first, now he knows, okay, I can go out. So those are little things, and it takes a long time. And if you got to figure out, is he praiseworthy or is he a treat-worthy kind of a dog? Like, does he like treats or does he love praise? Dogs are different in that respect. Some love both. But yeah, man, I love dogs, bro. I absolutely do. But
I know you do. I know you do. All right, listen. I hate to run.
No, you're good, man.
I gotta go. And it's great talking to you. I guess I won't see you till next Tuesday, but I'll talk to you on the phone.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, man. Be safe.
Bye.
Later.